Well, there is an outbreak of measles in Texas right now. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says we are among 21 states dealing with this highly contagious virus.
That's right. Doctors are attributing the uptick to a variety of factors, including the lack of prevention. Our Madeline Dart is here to tell us what you can do to protect yourself and your family from this potentially deadly sickness. Maddie?
Well, Brian McKenzie, professionals say more people are visiting the U.S. from places where they are not required to be vaccinated against measles and posing a serious threat for individuals who are not vaccinated or live with a compromised immune system. Doctors say the best way to stay healthy is preventative measures like vaccinations. They add, because measles is so contagious, all cases, whether it's 20 or 200, are watched closely. And even though 100 seems like a low number for a virus outbreak, no amount of measles is considered common.
That's very abnormal. One of the concerning things about it is that you can be exposed to measles and not have any symptoms until 2 weeks later.
Dr. Platt says the first signs of measles is a giant red rash and can be accompanied by flu-like symptoms such as a fever and runny nose. And if you do recognize those symptoms or signs on yourself or someone else, Dr. Platt says you need to seek immediate medical help to prevent it from worsening or even turning fatal. Kenzie, Brian.
Immunization's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.